Yeah, today we'll be looking at the types of tender. And as we know, tender is whereby the client, tends to invite different contractors to come and bid for a particular project. So, and we have different types of this tender. Tender is usually very, very competitive. So the first one we have is open tender. So, and this type of tender is open to all eligible bidders. That means after they've done the pre-qualification and you're eligible to bid. So it is definitely open to all eligible bidders. Then we have the limited tender. So limited tender is invitation sent to selected contractors. So it is an invitation, but it's usually sent to a specific contractors. So maybe if the tender itself or the bid itself is about electricity, maybe street lightnings, solar street lightnings. So it's going to be sent to just those in that sector, just those contractors in installation of street lights, right? Then it's not going to be sent to either those in construction field or those in plumbing, because this is specifically for solar installers. So that is how it is limited. Then we have selective tender. So only pre-qualified contractors can bid. So for selective tender, it's just those that has been pre-qualified. You understand? Those contractor that has been pre-qualified, that has the ability to bid. Then we have single tender. Then for single tender is for only one contractor is invited. So they tend to do their invitation, but it's only one contractor that is usually invited for single tender. Then we have negotiated tender. So negotiated tender, just as the name implies, clients negotiate with one or more contractors. So he tends to negotiate with these, then negotiate with the other one and the other one. Then maybe at the end of the day, he tends to see which of them that their price is more reasonable. Then he selects that particular contractor. Then we have two-stage tender. So for two-stage tender, contractor selected early, then final price later. So they tend to select the contractors early, right? Then the final pricing is actually later. So the first stage is to submit your documents and the likes of that. Then after they've gone through the process, then they tend to invite you later for the pricing of whatsoever they intended to do. Then we have an EPC tender. That is the engineering, procurement, and construction. So this is solely for those in construction. So I know construction is very, very large. So you have this EPC tender for just the engineering, procurement, and construction. Maybe you want to procure your cement, you want to procure your roofing sheet, you want to procure everything within the scale of engineering. So most engineers usually tend to use this EPC tender. Then item rate tender. So for item rate tender, this has to do with basically supplies. So for those that are into supply of maybe chairs, supply of reading items to school, supply of household equipment, all those supply. So the rates are quoted for each BOQ item. So this has to be with your bill of quantity. For the engineering is bill of measurement and evaluation, but for your quantity and your surveyors, they tend to use the BOQ. So and basically BOQ is for items. Maybe you want to buy items in large quantity, you just do the bill of quantity for that specific item. And the bill of quantity usually comes with your serial number, the items you want to buy, the number of the items, then I think the unit price, then the rate, and so on and so forth. So the next one is percentage rate tender. So percentage above or below schedule of rates, that is the SOR. So Percentage tender, they may say if your values are below this percentage, or is below or is above this particular percentage. So they tend to use the schedule of rates to sort the percentage rate tender. Then we have the lump sum tender. So for lump sum tender, one fixed price for the entire work. So lump sum is maybe you want to fix a road, maybe a constituency project, an internal road. So they'll just tell you to just do a lump sum, maybe 20 million for this road or 50 million for this particular road. Or you want to construct your column on site. Yes, for your column, you're going to have your shuttering, which your carpenter is going to be involved, your iron bender is going to be involved, your mason is going to be involved, the unskilled labor is going to be involved, the skilled labor is going to be involved, right? The skilled worker rather. So, but instead of splitting them, maybe mason take this, plumber take this, and whatsoever, you splitting them like that, you can just make it in lump sum, so that you calculate the whole amount it's going to require you to fix that particular problem. Then it's lump sum. So for lump sum tender, one fixed price for the entire, so you have a particular fixed price for the entire work. Then we have the turnkey tender. So contractor delivers a complete ready to use project. So for turnkey, the contractor delivers a complete, that means it's already completed, then ready to use project. Then we have design and build tender. So contractor responsible for design and construction. So for design and build, that means the contractor now is responsible for the design. You understand? Maybe for your residential building, you do all the M&E, the structural, the architectural, then the construction itself. So here we also have common tender terms, right? So the terminologies that is used in tender. So we have the NIT, which means notice inviting tender. Then we have the EOI, that is the express of interest. Then we have the RFP, that is request for proposal. Then we have the RFQ, that is request for quotation. Most people usually confused or interchange this RFP for RFQ and the other way around, which ought not to be so. A request for proposal, that means they've actually asking you to bring your proposal, right? So you submit your proposal to them, or your proposal is still going to have your bill of quantities. Then request for quotation, so that means they're asking you to quote, so how much is going to be sufficient to construct this particular, or to suffice for this particular project. Then we also have your BOQ, that is your bill of quantities. For your bill of quantities, you do your market surveys. Then after your market surveys, you use the prices that you have there and bring into your BOQ, so that your prices will be up to date. Then we have the SOR, which is schedule of rates. Then we have the EMD, that is the earnest money deposit. Then we have bid security, that is security submitted with the bid. Then we have the SDs, security deposit. So we have bid security, then we have the security deposit, and we have PBG, that is performance bank guarantee. Then LOI, that is letter of intent. So maybe there is a bid going on somewhere and you have interest in such bid, you can write letter of intent. It depends on the kind of bid that is it is. If it is open tender, right, you can actually use your letter of intent. For limited tender, you may write your letter of intent, that is if they tend to accept. Then we have your LOA, that is your letter of acceptance / award. So your letter of acceptance, maybe you've been given the award letter, so you have to write your letter of acceptance showing that you've accepted the said contract. Then we have the WO, that is the work order. Then for in engineering, Ministry of Works, for instance, they use it, they call it as engineer's order. You understand? Instead of the work order, for general procurement is work order, but for engineering we call it engineer's order. For work order, this is what actually permits you to do maybe the work that has been ascribed to you to do. But for your engineering order is what actually gives you the command on site as the engineer. Then we have the GFC drawings, that is good for construction drawing. Then we have the addendum, additional information issued. Then we have the corrigendum, which is correction to tender document. So maybe you've submitted your tender documents and there are correction to it, so you can use your corrigendum to just suffice for that. Then pre-bidding meetings, so meetings to clarify queries. So these are your pre-bidding queries. Then we have technical bid. So for technical bid, we have technical qualifications and compliance. So there are so many compliances that is actually required for you to comply to. So the terms of reference and the likes of them. So for technical bid, the technical qualification is important. Then also the compliance is also very, very imperative. Then we have financial bid, which is your price quotation. Your price quotation is still part of your financial bid, because you are going to have the technical and the financial for those that understands bidding very well. The technical is where your documents, your profile is going to be attached. Then the financial now is where your BOQ, you understand, then is going to be attached. Then we have bid validity. That is a period during which the bid remains valid. So the bid has a period. If you check most of the federal tenders journals, you see that they'll tell you the validity of the bid, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 1 month, and so on and so forth. Then DLP, that is defect liability period. Then we have the retention money. So for retention money, amount retained until satisfactory completion. So when you go for such a bid, they tend to retain a particular amount. It's usually in your document, your contract document, so whereby this is so and so is retained until the project is satisfactory completion. Then we have the VO. Then we have the LD, that is liquidated damages. Right. Then for mobilization advance, then there is advance payment to start work. That is mobilization advance, and some people just call it mobilization, some people call it mobilization advance. And mobilization advance is the amount that is going to be paid to you. Sometimes it's going to be a percentage of the total sum of the contract sum, right? So it's going to be paid to you for you to be able to progress to the site, you understand, to start work. And we have the IPC, which is interim payment certificate. So this is usually issued, right? Then we have final bill. So final payment after project completion. Yes, if the said tender is in percentages, maybe the first initial stage, maybe they are going to pay you 20%. Then maybe when you go midway, they pay you maybe 40%. Right, that is 20, 40, that is 60%. Then on job completion, they pay you the remaining 40%, that is 20, 40, 40. So this final bill now, that is the final payment after project completion. So after the completion of the project, then you are being paid that particular 40%. So this is how all these things tends to work. So these are common tender terms. So these terms are very, very important if you are into procurement and the likes of it.